South Carolina's housing market is one of the most stable in the entire country, but does that make it crash-proof? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. As always, I am Bill Olson, your favorite YouTubing Charleston realtor, and today we're talking about how stable the South Carolina housing market is and if that makes it crash-proof. But before we get started, I need to know, do you think that there is a crash coming, or do you think that we're just going to slow down and get back to normal? Let us know down in the comments. Are you team crash or are you team no crash? Well, it's impossible to predict whether a housing market is crash-proof. We can look at how stable the market is to see how light of a blow they could actually take should a crash actually happen. Now, lucky for us, CNBC did a lot of research on the 10 most stable housing markets in the entire country. Now, of these, South Carolina came in at number 9. So we're gonna look at how they came up with this and see how stable is the South Carolina market and could it actually be crash-proof. To come up with the ranking, they looked at 5 key statistics, and these were the 2022 economy rankings, home price appreciation, new construction starts, the number of foreclosures, and the number of underwater mortgages. We're gonna start with that economy rank, and South Carolina came in at number 13, and that was up 8 spots from 2021, where we ranked 21. Now, CNBC came up with this ranking based on their best states to do business in. It examined gross domestic product growth, job growth, unemployment rates, among everything else that has to do with, you guessed it, the economy. Another thing they looked at were major corporations that were headquartered in the state. And here in South Carolina, that is led by Michelin, and they currently employ close to 10,000 South Carolinians. And while there are no Fortune 500 companies that are currently headquartered in South Carolina, last year did see massive investments from some big name players. Between the likes of Google, Walmart, Volvo, BMW, E&J Gallo Wines, and Shaw Industries, there were close to $2 trillion worth of investments in the state of South Carolina. When we add in the rest of that top 10, it's almost $2.5 trillion. So why does this all matter? Well, part of the economy ranking was having a stable housing market. And the reason we talked about these companies that are here or are investing in the state is because they are actually helping stabilize the market in a way. You see, when they come in and spend all this money or relocate, they're doing what? They are bringing jobs. And what happens when you bring jobs? You bring people. And when you bring people into the workforce, then you bring demand for housing. And when you bring more demand for housing, you bring home price appreciation. So therefore, this all trickles down from these companies pouring this money into the state that is actually helping the home price appreciation, which is doing the exact opposite of what a housing crash would do, with home prices going up and not down. And with that, we're gonna turn and look at the housing market to see why it is actually so stable with other things that they looked at in the study. Now, starting with that home price appreciation, the state of South Carolina saw a home price appreciation of 21.4%. Now, even with this continued demand, we are not going to be able to sustain that. That in itself is not a sustainable market. What we are going to see is that appreciation rate go down. Now, if you remember a couple of videos ago, I said this. All these words on the screen for everybody. The only thing that is going to go down is the rate of appreciation. Okay, so why is this? Why is that going to just slow down and not go into the negative on that home price appreciation? Well, let's take these jobs that are being created in the state and look at that compared to the number of new homes that are being built. Now, across the state, we are seeing 1.25 to 1.5 homes being built per new job added. Now, this is going to ease demand slightly, which is going to lower that appreciation. So while home sales have slowed down significantly, it is nowhere near the rate that it's going to be at for that supply to so outpace the demand that we get into that market where home prices start to depreciate, especially at a rapid rate. The other part of this is foreclosures and short sales, and an abundance of one, the other, or both can cause values to rapidly decrease. I want to take a quick second and jump back in time to the housing crash of the late 2000s, and I want to show you what the percentage of homes for sale were by year that had at least one foreclosure notice on them. In 2008, 1.84% of homes for sale were a foreclosure. In 2009, that jumped to 2.21%, and it stayed steady through 2010 with 2.23%. Now, that equates to approximately 1 out of every 45 homes for sale had at least one foreclosure notice on them. Today in South Carolina, 0.09% of homes for sale have a foreclosure notice on them. That is 1 in every 1,081 homes for sale. Now this 0.09% is a far cry from the 2% we were seeing during the last housing crash. And the other side of this is short sales or underwater mortgages. These are mortgages that owe more than what their fair market value is. Across the state, it's estimated that 3.5% of all mortgages are underwater. Now, while that may seem like a lot since we were just talking about a 0.09%, remember that 0.09% was what is on the market. This 3.5% is total. Now in 2010, 25% of all mortgages were underwater. Now, these don't turn into short sales unless they actually go on the active market and they have to sell. Well, right now, we're not seeing many of these come onto the market. Here in Charleston, we probably have less than 5 short sales in our entire MLS. And my thoughts are, with this rapid appreciation that we're seeing, even the homes that are underwater, by the time they go to sell, this appreciation is going to push them out and they're going to be equity positive. So they're not going to be considered a short sale or an underwater mortgage anymore once they hit the market. Hence, they're not going to bring values down. So with a great economy, low demand, high supply, does this make South Carolina's stable housing market crash proof? Let us know now that you've heard all the facts down in the comments. Personally, I don't think there's going to be a crash, but if there was, South Carolina's housing market would be safe. Thanks so much for watching the video. Check out these other ones that I've got here, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. I'll see you on the next video.